What's up everyone, welcome to today's video. Christy here from Ibex Training. Today I'm going to give you a 5-minute quick warm-up. It's crucial to make sure that we warm up for whatever workout we're doing, whether it's running, hitting the gym hard, to help us prevent injury and make sure our body is ready to go so we can also get the most out of our session. Today's warm-up is going to be the 5-minute running warm-up that I use regularly that's going to help you guys get your whole body, including our hips, our hamstrings, our calves, our ankles, our midline, and our shoulders prepared to run fast. Drill number 1, we're gonna pull our knee up to our chest. This is gonna help us start to open up our hips, maybe give you a nice good hip flexor stretch, especially if you sit all day. So I'm just gonna gently work on balancing on one leg as I pull my opposite knee up to my chest. We wanna squeeze that knee in as tight as possible, starting to open up the hip. This drill is going to exaggerate lifting our knee, which we lift our knee when we run. So it's gonna help us get those hip flexors primed and ready, so we're ready to go when we hit the track. Next, we're gonna work on our quads. Same thing, you might feel a little hip flexor. I'm just gonna pull my heel all the way to my butt, feel a nice good stretch, and then naturally let the foot kick down back towards the track. I'm lengthening my quads, I'm not forcing anything. I wanna keep the knee in nice and tight, keeping it neutral under my hip, and then just gently squeeze for a second and then let the foot fall back towards the track. Next, we're gonna work on our hamstrings. So we're gonna think about actively pushing our hips back as we flex the toe towards the face and just kind of scoop. You can think about brushing the hands towards the ground, just feeling a really good stretch through the back of the leg, starting to work our hamstring. If you can get all the way down to the ground, that's great. But we want to make sure that we're feeling it through here and we're not just rounding in our lower back. Now that we've started to open our quads and our hamstrings, a little bit of stability with our single leg work on our ankles, we're gonna focus on our midline. So we're gonna do this one actually lying down on the ground, and we're gonna anchor in our midline, keeping it nice and tight. So I'm gonna lay down, think about creating space. I don't want my ribs to flare. I don't want to have any space between my back and the track. I want to think about tightening my midline, creating as much tension here as I can. Then I can bring one foot bent, and then I'm just going to lift one leg. Feel a little bit of tension in my hamstring, and I'm going to lower all the way down. We want to lower as low as we can. If we can get the heel to tap the ground, that's great. If not, I want you to stop if you feel any break of tension in your midline. So everything stays nice and tight, and we're gonna do 10 leg lowers, priming the hip, priming the midline. Now we're gonna transfer the lying leg lowers into a standing position. So now we want to engage our midline while we're standing, just like we're gonna be doing when we're running. So I like to find something to anchor onto. Then from here, just like I was on the floor, so I'm gonna crunch down just a little bit, create some tension, and then I'm just gonna swing my leg forward and backwards, keeping that tension. What I want to avoid is I don't want to feel my hips kick behind me and my ribs flare out. I'm getting these really big swings from my back. I want to keep this right in my hip, so tucking the hips under gently, engaging our core, and only going as high as I can, keeping everything locked into place. Up next, we're going to talk about our shoulders. Our shoulders play a major part when it comes to running smoothly and efficiently. We're going to start by just standing. We're going to lock our midline into place, similar to what we were doing with the leg swings. And then from here, we're just going to start with one arm. I want you to think 90 degrees, and we're going to drive our elbow back and then drive our elbow forward. Slowly increasing the pace, trying to keep the elbow right next to the side and hit that full range of motion. What we want to avoid, feeling the shoulders rotate, because now we're taking our momentum side to side instead of taking the momentum forward and backwards. So I'm gonna go 10 swings on my right, followed by 10 swings on my left. I don't know about you, but for me, one of my arms is a little bit more, I don't know, I wanna say wonky than the other one, and it doesn't like to go as much forward and backwards. So this is a really great drill to prime both of the arms so that we're ready to go. It's really important with the arm swings to think about keeping the hips under the body and the midline tight. I think you're starting to see a theme here. We're talking about midline tightness, hips under the body, keeping everything working together. The lunge walk. Here we're gonna target our glute, gonna target our hip flexor and our hamstring, also keeping our midline nice and tight. So I'm just gonna take a nice big step out, keeping everything engaged, try to tap my knee, driving off my front leg, coming back to the front. So here I'm really focusing on my midline staying engaged, not letting my low back arch, knee is over the ankle, I'm pushing through my front leg to engage the glute and the hamstring so I get ready to propel myself off of the ground with one leg at a time while I'm running. Now that we've gone through some of our dynamic stretching, our general range of motion, our body is warm and it's ready, but let's start increasing our heart rate and start to get a little bit more movement. So we're gonna start with some high knees. It's not just about how high we lift our knees. We wanna make sure our upper body is involved as well, adding in those arm swings that we talked about earlier. So usually I just pick a distance about 10 meters or so, focusing on short, choppy steps. As my knee comes up and comes down, I pull my arm back. I usually go about 10 meters out and then come 10 meters back, now focusing on the hamstring. So now we're gonna focus on kicking our butt. You might not feel your heel touch your butt those first couple reps, but the goal is to get there. As the hamstrings begin to activate and the quads begin to loosen, we really wanna try to get the heel to our butt. We have 2 more great drills for you, but first, a word from our sponsor. This video is sponsored by Sidekick. Sidekick is a company that I've been with since 2017. They've helped me tremendously when it comes to recovery, especially for those of you running. They have really awesome muscle scrapers that are gonna help you with some maybe shin splints, keep your calves and your Achilles nice and mobile and sliding and gliding the way that they should. Keep your knees happy, because we all know sometimes when we run often, our knees can get a little bit angry. These muscle scrapers are perfect for helping us bring fresh nutrients and new fresh blood flow to the area. So that way we can recover and we can feel really good heading into our next session. I love working with Sidekick Tools. Not only do they have a bunch of muscle scrapers, they have a ton of other vibration therapy devices so that you can feel your best. Keep showing up to the gym or showing up for your runs, the track, whatever it is that you're doing every single day, and keep showing up for yourself. To learn more, check out the link in the description below. Next, we're gonna do 2 skipping drills. First one's gonna be a little bit smaller, second one's gonna be what you knew when you were a kid. So we're gonna focus on lifting our knee, and as we lift our knee, our foot's gonna come out similar to as if we were running, and then we're gonna snap it back towards the ground. So we wanna get our upper body involved by driving our arms, and think knee lift, snap, nice and quick. Once we've done some of our A skips, we're gonna go into full skips. So in running, at some point in time, every stride, we have all of our weight on one foot. So we wanna make sure we're ready to push off of the foot and we can keep stable. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drive opposite leg up as high and powerful as we can. Opposite knee goes with opposite arm, trying to push off of the ground, keeping our midline nice and tight. Hopefully that was super helpful. By the time you're done with that, you should be sweating, your heart rate should have come up, you should have done all the dirty work, so as soon as you start your working sets or whatever workout you are doing, you are ready to go. A couple other tips just to keep in mind when we're running. We wanna keep our chin neutral. We don't be looking down or looking up or have it jutted out. Just think nice and neutral with the chin. The arms stay about 90 degrees, moving forward and backwards. We don't wanna move them side to side, and we don't want a lot of upper body sway. The midline stays anchored, meaning my hips don't go behind my body and my ribs flare, but I keep my ribs pulled down, keep my hips tucked under, so I'm using my midline to stabilize my body. From there, just think about nice, smooth, rhythmic cadence, trying to work together. Try to relax your face. The more tense you are, you're gonna feel it when you're running. I hope you enjoyed this warm-up. Give it a try. Don't forget, like, subscribe, get outside.